Hey everyone, this is Dean with DCA Crypto. Today we're going to look at Bitcoin and crypto and see where we're headed in the next few months here. So I'd appreciate if you subscribe to my channel, smash that like button, and let's jump into it. Alright, today's video we're going to be going over Bitcoin and where I think we're headed from here. If I think we're headed up or down, how far down we could go. If we're headed down, how far up we could go if we're headed up. So I want to jump into it here. Alright, so currently we're at the market cap of $2.3 trillion. So we're slowly coming down, like I said, would be pretty much expected for this time of year, where we slowly keep coming down over the next few months. So now it's May 1st. May is typically a sell in May, go away type of month, where crypto has usually a correction in May, and then we usually get some red months over, June, July, and then we start picking up into August and take off into the main bull run. So far we've been red over towards the end of April, and now we're in May, so we'll have to see what happens. We have the FOMC meeting today. I'm going to talk about that in this video a little bit. I'm going to talk to you about the Bitcoin chart and the pattern that's breaking out on it. It's pretty interesting. Bitcoin currently at $60,000. If we jump into this chart here for Bitcoin, you can see we did touch off from like 59,000 yesterday, basically, as of this recording. So I'm recording this last night. So 59,000, we kind of touched off from here a little bit, and then we came back up from there. Now we're at 60,000. Are we going to get a further correction? Well, it looks like this is kind of our level here. So if we break this level here, like 59,600, somewhere in that range, if we break through there, we're probably going to come crashing down to, like the $53,000 mark, somewhere in there. But I would imagine there's going to be some, and I don't have the liquidity chart pulled up on here, but I imagine there's a lot of liquidity at the 57,000 mark also. Somewhere around 56 or 57,000. There's probably a bunch of liquidity, so it'd be a little bit tough to break through there. But if we do, we're probably coming down to 53,000. So, and that wouldn't be unusual for this market. So if we measure that here, if we measure from the top to here, we've already had about a 19, almost 20% correction on Bitcoin from the top. But typically we go 30 to 35%, and if we do a 35% correction, that's going to put us all the way down under 50,000. So I don't think we're going to go quite that low. But if we were to get a 30% correction, that would put us around 51,000 if that were to happen. I'm expecting, probably bottom out around 53,000. That would put us at, and I don't know if my measurement's exact on here, but that would put us around 28% correction or something, somewhere around that range for Bitcoin if that were to happen, because we'll have to see if that happens or not. But the pattern we're playing out here, if you look at the Bart Simpson chart, this is typically what happens here. We kind of bounce around on Bart Simpson's hair, and then we come down to like his top of his nose here and touch off. So if we were to do that, like I said, that would probably be in that 53,000 range if that were to happen. We'll have to see if we come down that far. There's no guarantee that we will. We might have bottomed out where we're at, but it would not be unusual at all if we keep coming down lower. If it does come down lower, it's going to get really painful for alts. Just keep that in mind. I'm not going to panic about it. If anything, I'll add more into my bags and pack up and get ready for the launch in fall, because hopefully we go into a bull run. Hopefully interest rates lower towards the end of the year and we scream into a big bull run like we have in the past. I know a lot of people last year were scared of buying when we were down, around that $20,000 to $30,000 range with Bitcoin. People were scared to buy because the prices were low and they thought it was going lower. We thought we were going down to 12,000. Never happened. So you can't really time the market. That's the problem. So dollar cost averaging is the best thing to do. When you get dips like this, you put a little bit in. If we get a further dip, you put a little more in and get your average down. It's about all you can do in these markets. But typically we're going to take off into a big bull run towards the end of the year. So hopefully that happens. So the Fed has their FOMC meeting today, and it says the Federal Reserve has been ensnared in holding pattern that they will likely be reflected when it closes on its meeting on Wednesday. Markets anticipating a near zero chance that the Fed Open Market Committee, the central bank's policy setting arm, will announce any change to interest rates. So they don't think they're going to announce any change to the interest rates. They think they're just going to hold them where they're at, would be the most likely scenario. The only piece of news likely to come out of the meeting itself is an announcement that the Fed soon will reduce the level at which it's running down the bond holdings on its balance sheet. So they talk about here that, the stubborn inflation basically, and it's raised concerns because inflation hasn't come down. It's been real stubborn. If anything, it's upticked slightly from what they're showing. They're trying to bring it down. Pretty much everybody in the FOMC is talking about the same script right now, says Gala, chief fixed income strategist at Janney Montgomery Scott, and I'm not familiar with them, but with maybe one or two exceptions, policymakers pretty universally agree that the last few months of inflation data are too warm to justify action in the near term, but they're still hopeful that they will be in a position to cut rates later. So hopefully that is the case. So basically, there's a concern about where the market is at right now. They have a lack of confidence in inflation coming down, so they want to hold interest rates where they're at in hopes that they'll bring inflation down slowly. They want to have a soft landing if they can have that, but we'll see what happens with it. I think they're going to be forced to lower interest rates eventually, and if they don't, by the time a new president comes in, if it's not Biden who's our president, I'm expecting a rate cut drastically by the end of the year. If we go to the Bitcoin rainbow chart here, we came up into this yellow zone. This is the new updated rainbow chart, and we come down and just touched on this green area here, right at the bottom of the light green area. The green area is the accumulate zone. The light green area is still cheap, so they're staying right here. Crypto is still cheap. Bitcoin is still cheap, because likely if we take off into this orange zone here towards the end of the year, in 2025, that's putting Bitcoin at $175,000 to $200,000, somewhere in the $150,000 to $200,000 range is kind of where they're projecting Bitcoin to go if we get into this orange zone. If we were to get into the red zone somehow, that would put us into over $200,000 Bitcoin. That is a possibility. We'll have to see what happens. They've adjusted this chart a little bit, because if you look at the old chart, we're still way down in here, and you can see last bull run it would have only barely touched the regular orange zone and not gotten into the red at all, where they've adjusted this curve for Bitcoin's maturity, and I think that was necessary. I think it was necessary to adjust that curve and flatten it out a little bit. So I think we'll probably get up into this orange zone here, maybe the light orange at if we have a weaker bull run, but that would still put us in $120,000 to $150,000 Bitcoin range if that were to happen. That's possible that we get into this dark orange zone or even the red zone, but I'm going to be cashing out heavily once we get over that $100,000 mark, because I'm going to be really cautious as to whether we go much further than that. You just never know what the market's going to do for sure. So I'm going to take my profits out on this thing pretty early, and I'm definitely going to leave some in case we keep going higher. Don't get me wrong. You don't want to make the mistake of pulling everything out and then we get higher prices later on, like we had last time. We had this double top where we crashed here and everybody thought it was maybe over, and then we took off again before we and then everybody thought here we were going even higher, and we didn't. We came down, and that was the end of the bull run. So you got to be careful with that. Don't know what the market's going to do. You think you're going to know, and then you don't. So you got to kind of keep that in mind. If we go to the fear and greed index, we are currently only at a greed indicator of 67, so we're still well into the greed zone. That leaves plenty of room for us to get a further correction that could put us back into this orange zone, and that's going to put us down quite a bit. That if we get below 57,000 with Bitcoin, that's going to put us into this orange zone more than likely. So I guess it just kind of depends on how quick that were to happen. If that were to happen over a matter of days or so, that could potentially push us into the fear zone here. So we'll have to see on that. But realistically, we're pretty much into the greed zone, so we have a lot of correction that we could see yet in the market. But if you look at the previous cycle here, we did get into the green zone, but we weren't in the green zone near as much during that Bitcoin halving. We're mostly into this orange zone, so being that we're already in this green zone, it's kind of scary. You know, hopefully the cycles repeat itself and we take off into big bull run later this year. So go to the Bitcoin monthly returns chart here. You know, May is usually a red month, but if we do get a red month in May, this will be the first time that it's red 4 years in a row. So that's another thing you got to kind of keep in mind. In 2020, we did have a green month, but you got to remember we had the COVID crash here in March. So that put us into the red really hard, a 25% correction on Bitcoin. And then once that calmed down, we took off again and had a 35% green candle in April and May. So, you know, this Bitcoin price was thrown off from the COVID event here. But, you know, as you can see, you know, hopefully the pain will be over with soon, and then we'll take off into that main bull run. We'll have to see how this plays out. But I'll tell you what, how I'm playing this, I'm pretty much just waiting to see what happens. I'm not doing really anything with my coins. If I see some good buys out there, I'm just going to add more to my portfolio, especially if we see further downside in this market. I'm going to stack certain coins in my portfolio that I know are strong ones for the bull run that are going to do well. And I'm just, you know, I'm investing in some projects that haven't launched yet and pre-sales and stuff like that as well. I'm investing in a bunch of node projects as well that, you know, they haven't even launched yet. So you're accumulating those tokens basically before they even launch. So the market isn't impacting the price of those currently. So that's another way to play the game, is by purchasing nodes when the projects first launch. I do have a big major node project that I'll be sharing on my channel in the upcoming weeks or months. I'm not sure when it's going to launch or not, but I will share it on my channel when the time comes. I can't share any information on it right now other than to let you know that it is a massive project and it will be available to my community. So I'll get that out to you guys when it's available and giving an update on it. But I'm excited about it, and I'll be getting that out to you guys when it is when it's time. So I'll share more information when I'm able to on that. But other than that, guys, I'm just kind of holding in a holding pattern here with the market. I'm going to wait and see what's going to happen. You know, there's not going to be, these times in the market can be really boring. So a lot of people are, you know, and a lot of people, it can be scary for them if they've never been through this before. I've been through a bear market, so these prices to me, I'm still well up on my portfolio for my initial investments. So not, you know, panic selling or anything like that. If you bought some of these coins while they were in the green over the past few months and you're down in your portfolio, you know, I can't tell you what to do with you in your portfolio. But if you're worried about it, you know, me personally, if it was happening to me, I would try to buy more at the lower prices to get my average down. That way, when we do pick up again, regardless of when that is, you know, then you're seeing green in your portfolio sooner because you got your dollar cost average down. That's pretty much how I would play that game. But don't forget, guys, I have an awesome Telegram community. If you guys want to join that, that's absolutely free. The link will be in the description below and the pinned comment. You can jump in my Telegram. We got Ba in there. He is the chart man, and he's finding all kinds of gems for my community. I really appreciate you and the other members of the Telegram as well. Jackie and all of you guys in there. I really appreciate all of you supporting my Telegram channel and helping out my community in there. And if you guys got any questions, feel free to jump in there. You can tag me if you got any questions directly that you need me to answer on something. But the community is really helpful on anything as well. And if you guys are interested in my Discord, you can get in that for only $14.99 a month. That is through Patreon. That'll be in the description below and the pinned comment as well. And I share all my trades in there, and anything I've got coming out, I let them know first, just because they're supporting me in that Discord through Patreon. So I let everything out to those guys first, so they're aware of it before it comes out to anywhere else from me. So I appreciate it, guys. If you got any questions, hit me up on the chat below. I'd love to hear what you think is going to happen over the next few months with crypto and what what you think is going to happen here, if we're going to go down lower to 57K, 53K with Bitcoin, or if you think we're going to take off from here, maybe hit 80,000 and then we get a big correction. Love to hear you guys' thoughts on what you think is going to happen over the next few months with this market. But really appreciate all of you guys. We'll see you on the next video.
Tell me what you want, what you need. Tell me, tell me, tell me, tell me what you want, what you need. Tell me, tell me, tell me, tell me.